Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. I'm Ferrata Eleftheria, and this is my fourth and final video on the meanings of the court cards. I've gone through the suit of wands, cups and swords so far, and now this is the court cards in the suit of pentacles, also known as the suit of coins or the suit of discs. So if you ever wondered what the meanings of those cards is, here is a brief explanation of each of them. Enjoy. So, the suit of pentacles, also known as the suit of discs or coins, is associated with the earthy element. And what earth represents in tarot, in esotericism, is not necessarily physical earth, but rather the most gross or material aspects of life, as earth is the densest of the classical elements. It represents the ground on which we walk. It represents the physical world. And so when you look to the earth element in a tarot spread, it's indicating something about the most material aspects of life. So money, our jobs, and it can also refer to our physical health, the health of the physical body. And it can often be an indicator of things that we bring into existence through hard work. The way that, it's hard work to till the soil to produce a crop. And so that's a common theme in the Pentacle court cards. And we see a different aspect of that in each of the court cards. A lot to do with the acquisition of material resources, a lot to do with physical growth, the growth of different enterprises that we might have, and also stability and security, another key theme of the very heavy and very solid earth element. So the first court card for us to consider here is the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles represents the earthy part of earth, or pure earth. As with all of the page cards, this represents a new beginning. It can represent learning, but it also represents bringing our desires or bringing our ambitions into reality in a very practical way. And, as opposed to the sort of the more visionary wands, for example. The page is standing in the middle of a field. We see a lot of flowers around the page, growing up around the page. And we also see in the distance, crops, fields. You can tell that there's a tilled field in the background. And so both of these symbols represent the planting of seeds, a growth mindset looking towards growing some kind of wealth or abundance. But we are, as the page, in the process of just planting that initial seed. And we see the page very focused on the pentacle or the coin in the page's hand, very focused on material success and acquiring that. And we see the page contemplating within the pentacle that there is a lot of potential in here, potential for future growth. So as it is talking about that potential growth and the planting of the seed for something greater in the future, this is talking about taking those initial steps towards building something that is going to be a long-term kind of benefit to you, whether that is beginning some new project, beginning a new career, perhaps it's investing in new kinds of stocks or even starting a portfolio, anything to do with shifts in your financial life. It can be to do with shifts in the way you live physically, perhaps dieting or working out and beginning that kind of a thing. You're beginning to create stability, physical stability in your life, and or build wealth. And you're willing to put in sustained effort in order to reach a long-term goal, which is related to those areas of life. So if you draw this card and it represents you, it's time for you to take action on those goals that you might have been contemplating. It's going to take a long time to reach your final goal, but you need to start somewhere. So, and just chip away at it slowly, and the time to start is now. And you need to just have a grounded mindset and remain focused on the goal over a long period of time and not expect instant gratification. So have a long-term vision, but stay grounded. So the next card in this series is the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles represents the airy part of Earth. Really, this card represents hard work. There is a kind of promise to oneself as the Page of Discs to begin the process of hard work, and now that process is embodied in the Knight. Hard work as well as dedication. The patience that is required to play the long game and work towards a goal slowly and steadily, but building a very strong foundation by working in that way. And so, in contrast to all the other Knight cards, we see, well, particularly when we're talking about the active elements of air and fire, in comparison to them, the Knight of Pentacles is very slow moving, very steady on the horse, almost methodical in the way that the Knight is surveying the land and going about the Knight's task. So the Knight of Pentacles is somebody with a strong work ethic, somebody who's very disciplined, and somebody who has grit and perseverance. There's somebody who is very dedicated and very committed to the task that they've set themselves on, and they know how to be very consistent in staying on task and not being flaky and not deviating from that goal. Indeed, even if the gratification of reaching that goal isn't instant. The Knight of Pentacles again appears with the field. So the crop is growing. The Knight is building up his resources into the future, but it takes time for the crop to grow. And we see in the Knight of Discs someone who's very much a planner. They have a long-term plan that they're putting into action. So if you draw the Knight of Pentacles and it represents you, then it means that this is a time for persistence in your career or in some other material enterprise that you're engaged in. And just keep on keeping on. Hold fast to your responsibilities. Slow and steady wins the race in this situation in your life, and so you need to be like the Knight of Pentacles. But if you can stick to the path that you're on now, even though it doesn't seem very glamorous, the way that you're working, in time, you will be duly rewarded. And that is the message of the Knight of Pentacles. Next up we have the Queen of Pentacles. She is the watery part of Earth. And so, as with the Queen cards in the other suits, we have a more nurturing, more warm, more compassionate embodiment of a particular element. And the same is true of the Queen of Pentacles, representing the element of Earth in that aspect. Also a very altruistic and caring card, as with the other Queens. And so when you combine that with the Pentacles suit, we have someone who creates wealth and physical abundance in some form, not just for herself, but for those around her as well. Her throne is very solid, and we also see a rabbit in the corner. This is a symbol of fertility, but in many cultures the rabbit is also a symbol of prosperity. And one thing that's very striking about the Queen of Pentacles card in the Rider-Waite deck is that she's very connected to nature. She is surrounded by nature. She's got the green sort of garment on. She's got roses growing around her. She's got the flowers surrounding her. the grass beneath her feet. She's almost so immersed in nature that she's merging into it and becoming one with it in a sense. This indicates someone who's very connected to the physical and has a deep understanding of how to cultivate the material and bring it into abundance and help it to thrive. This card is all about taking care of your own physical needs, but also being kind and generous to others in the process and charitable to others in the process. Also linked to physical abundance is the idea of physical comfort or security, as in, if you've really tailored your living space where you live, your home environment, that can be a manifestation of this energy as well. The Queen of Pentacles really calls us, if we draw her in a reading, to create that safe, stable, secure, nurturing physical environment for ourselves, whether that's in the workplace or at home or somewhere else. And if someone appears in your life who is indicated by the Queen of Pentacles, this is a very motherly figure, somebody who brings all the kind of abundance and all the nurturing that is signified by this card into your life and plays that role in your life in some sense. So last up we have the King of Pentacles. This is the fiery part of Earth. And as all the King cards represent some kind of mastery of a particular element, so it is with the Earth element. The King is the master of the material world. This is the person who has reached the pinnacle of success. Perhaps monetary or financial abundance as well is indicated by that. We see that he's got his throne, he's holding a scepter as well as a pentacle. This is symbolizing, authority as well as physical abundance. And there's a lot of grapevine symbolism here. There's the grapevine on his garments. There's also the grapevine growing around him. The grapevine represents growth and abundance and really being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, finally. And the kind of energy of this card is very stable and secure. The King has created a real sense of stability and security around him with his authority, and that's represented by the bull motifs on the throne. The bull is, of course, Taurus, one of the earth signs in the zodiac. But one thing to keep in mind with the bull, which can kind of be a downside of the King of Pentacles character, is that the bull can be very stubborn and set in its ways. So really, the King of Pentacles is the epitome of material success and being seen as a leader in the physical things of life. And so the most typical example of this would be the successful business person. Someone who has worked hard, invested their money well, made some shrewd business decisions, and become a master of that domain, and now has success as a result. If you draw this card and it represents you, it's time to take control of your material abundance in that way, and take a leading role in your material situation. So this sort of card can often represent the final fulfillment of a long-term plan, such as a business venture, and that venture finally being a source of success for you. All of your hard work has paid off, and you can finally bask in the glory of your accomplishments as the King of Pentacles. And this card can also ask you to consider the legacy you want to leave behind, and any steps that you might want to take to make sure that the prosperity that you have created can last into the future, maybe even beyond you into the next generation. If you're very successful, that might be something that you can consider. And so that is the court cards in the suit of Pentacles. A very abundant kind of energy in all of these cards, and very positive if you draw any of these cards. So that's it. That is the meaning of the court cards in the suit of Pentacles. And this is the last video that I have in this series on the meanings of all of the tarot cards. I've covered all of them now. And I've also covered how to do a basic spread. So this concludes the playlist on tarot. I've given you everything you need to know the basics of tarot, and if you want to watch my other videos on the other tarot cards and other tarot related topics, check out the rest of the tarot and divination playlist on this channel. But that's a wrap. This may in fact be the last video on tarot that I ever make. So there you go. I hope that you enjoyed this video and the other ones in this series if you're interested in that. If you do like this video, please leave a like. Feel free to leave any comments down below. Subscribe to this channel to support my work. And if you want to support me further, hit join or thanks down below. But thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.